Welcome to Negan's 12 Days of Ho-Ho.
12 Days of Ho-Ho.
12 Days of Ho-Ho.
All right.
Let's do it.
Well, book 11 in our 12 Days of Ho-Ho is The Truth About Mrs. Claus. Now, this book has a main character named Amalia, but we're going to make a slight edit and go with Amelia. Amelia the elf came from a long line of proud teddy bear makers. A very long line. Great Grandma's bears were the fluffiest in the whole North Pole. Grandma's bears had the smoothest satin bows, and Mama's bears glinted with the shiniest golden stitches. Amelia was getting good at making bears too. Last Christmas, Santa had even given her the most imaginative bear maker award. Lovely bows, said Grandma. Beautiful stitches, said Mama. Well done, Amelia, they both said. But no matter how hard she tried, making bears didn't make Amelia happy. Amelia did love the smell of stuffing and the feel of velvety fur. She loved watching Grandma's fingers glide over the satin and how Mama's eyes sparkled as she guided the needle through the golden thread. And she really loved telling stories about where each bear might live someday. This one is going to soar across the sky with Santa all the way to a sandy shore. She'll find a home with a girl who loves to surf, and they'll build the biggest sandcastle in the world. This one will live in the mountains with a boy who loves to climb trees all day, and at night they'll sleep under a blanket of stars. The truth was, Amelia loved everything about being a bear-making elf, except the bear-making part. She didn't want to disappoint Mama and Grandma. Bear-making was what their family did. Amelia needed advice, and there was only one person she could think of to help her. She headed out in the early morning light to find Santa. The snow crunched beneath her feet. The tinsel trees whispered above her head. Suddenly, a flash in the sky caught her eye. A sleigh! Amelia watched it skim the twinkling treetops and glide to a stop in front of Santa's workshop. Sorry, Jordan's having some struggles today. He saw a figure speak softly to the reindeer before striding inside. This was her chance. Amelia scurried after the figure, following him through the wrapping paper room, past the candy cane tasters, all the way to the open office door. Santa? She said bravely. Mrs. Claus? Amelia hung her head. You're not Santa. I'm not, said Mrs. Claus. Do you need him for something? Yes, said Amelia. I'm having a bear-making problem. Oh, that sounds serious, Miss Claus paused. Good thing you found my office. Your office? Yep. Now maybe I can help you with your bear-making problem. Will Santa be back soon? Amelia asked. I'm sure he's around somewhere. In the meantime, come with me and I'll tell you a story. I love stories, said Amelia. Mrs. Claus smiled. This one is very special. It's about a young woman named Sarah B. Claus. When I first came to the North Pole, I did what I thought Mrs. Claus was supposed to do. Bake cookies, serve cookies, and bake more cookies. Don't get me wrong, I like baking, but my holiday cookies are fantastic. But I wanted to do more. So I went over to the workshop and learned every last detail and task. What materials you need to make each toy, the best tips for training reindeer, even how to drive and fix Santa's sleigh. And each year with my ideas and suggestions, Christmas ran more and more smoothly. I realized that what I really enjoyed was making sure the North Pole was working the best it possibly could. Well, what about Santa? He has his job, Miss Claus said with a smile, and I have mine. Wow, Mrs. Claus, I had no idea you did all of this. How could you have known? Miss Claus looked closely at Amelia. The point is that I've found what I love to do, she said, and you'll figure out what you love to do too. How do you know I don't love making bears? Amelia asked. I had a feeling when Santa gave you the most imaginative bear maker award, said Mrs. Claus. Making bears didn't seem to excite you, but making up stories about them sure lit up your face. Can you help me, Miss Claus? Amelia asked. I want to make my family proud, but if I'm not a bear-making elf like them, who am I? That's a hard question, Amelia, said Mrs. Claus, but it's also an exciting one. This is your chance to discover your destiny and find out what you love. It's your chance to tell your own story. Amelia was quiet a moment. Then she asked, So why is your story a secret? Well, said Mrs. Claus, people think Christmas is run by Santa and the elves. That's how the story goes, and that's how it's always been. But maybe that's not how it should be. Amelia thought about Mama and Grandma and how they'd never seen Amelia do anything other than bear making. Maybe people only believe what they see, so we have to show them who we are. Miss Claus looked up surprised. What a clever elf you are, she said. I guess I never thought anyone needed to know. Mrs. Claus, I needed to know, said Amelia, and I'm sure I'm not the only one. Mrs. Claus took a deep breath. Some people probably won't want to know the truth, but if you think it could help others, I'm going to need someone to tell my story. Amelia the elf came from a long line of teddy bear makers, a long line that was changing every generation. Great-grandma bears were the fluffiest in the whole North Pole. Grandma's bears had the smoothest satin bows. Mama's bears glinted with the shiniest golden stitches. And Amelia's bears, they left the North Pole with the best stories under their arms. And Amelia was ready to write more. The Truth About Miss Claus by Amelia the Elf. The end.